have some strategies to simplify trigonomic expressions with our identities. So we're going to have six strategies. So the first strategy is simplify fractions. Simplify fractions. Simplify fractions. Now, our example is right underneath. So what can we do here? We have sine squared over cosine x times sine x. Well, we can eliminate the sine of x. And then that is going to equal the sine. How many sine of x is going to be left? There's one sine of x left on top, and then we've eliminated the sine of x on the bottom, and we have a cosine of x left on the bottom. What is sine of x over cosine of x? Well, that equals the tangent of x. And one thing I want to point out about sine squared x over sine of x, that is just like x squared over x. And what happens when we have x squared over x? Well, we just divide the exponents. And when you divide exponents, you do what? You subtract them, right? And that leaves you with 1x. So that's exactly what happened here. We had sine squared over sine x, and that left us with sine of x. Okay? So don't be overwhelmed by the trig expressions. They work just algebraically. Okay, so now that's our answer, tangent of x. Okay, the next strategy will be to write all functions using sine x and cosine of x. So we have an example here, and what do? We're going to translate that from tangent of x to sine of x over cosine of x, that's the tangent, times what's cosecant? That's 1 over the sine of x. All right, so that helps us to simplify. We can cross out those sine of x's, and that leaves us with 1 over the cosine of x. Well, we can simplify that further. What is that? That is simply the secant of x. Okay, there we have simplified down as far as we can go. Okay, now, what is our third strategy? Our third strategy is this. Every time you see this, pi over 2 minus theta or minus x, use co-function identities. Now you got your pink sheet, and it lists all of our identities, and there's a list of these. So our co-function identities, what are they? Well, look at sine of x. The sine of pi over 2 minus theta, what is that? That is simply cosine of theta. And what is the cosine of pi over 2 minus theta? Well, that is simply the sine of theta. These are the co-function identities. And what is cosine of theta over sine of theta? Well, that is simply the cotangent, right? Cotangent of theta. We can simplify that once more. So, all right, we have simplified. Okay? All right, looking for number 4. We are simplifying. Number 4. The fourth thing we can do is look for Pythagorean identities. Also on your pink sheet, Pythagorean identities. So looking at your Pythagorean identities on your pink sheet, what is 1 plus the cotangent? What can we substitute there? Well, 1 plus the cotangent is equal to, remember, the cosecant squared x. And then we have the cosine squared. So how can we simplify that? Well, cosecant is 1 over sine squared. That's times the cosine squared. What is cosine squared over sine squared? Well, that is cotangent squared x. Right? Cosine over sine squared, cotangent squared. Okay. All right, so we keep simplifying. Number 5. Let's write this out. Dividing and we've been doing this for a while now, dividing by a function, dividing by a function is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Multiplying by its reciprocal. All right, when we've been working with our our unit circles and solving those problems, this is exactly what we've been doing. So let's do this problem right here. We have cosine squared over the secant squared. This is the same as cosine squared x. If we do this division right here, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So we have cosine squared x over 1 over the cosine of x. So this division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1 over cosine is cosine of x over 1. So what is that? That is cosine cubed x, because when you multiply exponents, you just add them. Okay, simplified. All right, number 6, our final strategy for this worksheet. Our number 6 strategy is combine fractions with common denominators. Now in this case that you have below you, common denominators, you have common denominators. They've been given to you. If you don't have them, you have to create them. Now in this case, we've got them. So we have common denominators, so we just write the common denominator, cosine of x, and we add the numerators. Sine squared x plus cosine squared x. Well, now we're going to combine this number 6 with number 4. Look for Pythagorean identities. We have a Pythagorean identity right here. Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So we now have 1 over the cosine of x, and this is another identity. What's 1 over the cosine? Well, that is the secant of x. And there we have a simplification. Okay, those are 6 strategies.